If I got 4 C's on my report card, my mother would have been angry. Brew Kettle 4 C's, American Pale. Let's get going. Hey, it's Brain Muffin back with another beer review, and today we have another Ohio beer. I believe this is out of Columbus, if I remember correctly, Strongsville, Ohio. Brew Kettle 4 C's American Pale Ale, and I did have to cheat and look at the label because I knew it had, I thought it was Citra and Cascade, and it doesn't have Citra at all. So it's Columbus, Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Chinook. Now Chinook, or Chinook as some people say, is quite a bitter hop. Columbus, I believe, is fairly hoppy. Centennial and Cascade, and I've used, I think I've used all those in different types of my beer. Never the same beer though. So there's also Citra, there's also some others, and Citra's obviously going to give you a very citrusy flavor. I believe it's derived from Cascade. Oh my goodness. And it's like little hints of grass and quite a bit of citrus right on the nose. So this ought to be a nice golden color, pale ale. The thing in the craft brew area, for a long time, breweries were judged on how well their pale ale was. And I forget the name of one of them, the bitter end, it was a brewery that just held out making a pale ale because it was just so, I don't know, expected perhaps. Oh, so you know, this is a nice hoppy beer. It is only 6%. So it's going to have some characteristics of an IPA, so of the Indian Pale Ale, so you get the nice caramel coloring, but usually you don't get that real sharp kick in the teeth that you get from the hops bitterness. Now it's going to have some bitterness because of those hops that it's using. Wow. See, the pine shows up really late. There's only like a hint of pine really far back in the mouth, almost like a dryness. And it does have some IPA characteristics. The biggest thing is it doesn't have the big malt backbone and the caramel malt to give it a little bit more sweetness. So the American Pale is going to be about the same amount of hoppy. Depending on what kind of hops are used, it could be more pine, could be less pine. I mean, there's a nice mixture. A lot of these hops have very similar profiles that they use in England that we use here. But basically, citrus, but the caramel is there for coloring, but you don't have those caramel sugars that kind of support underneath to give you a little bit of sweetness. And IPAs tend to be a little higher in alcohol content. So that is very nice, as the dogs are getting into something in the kitchen. It's amazing. Every time they'll be asleep, I'll get the camera out, I'll start recording, bam, they just pester me. I've said that before because it happens. Hey, in there, Ellie, Toby, whoever it is. So it's 6%. This is something you can probably have in a couple in a session. You could do spicy food with this. You could definitely do some hearty steak type foods. Now they're both in the kitchen. I'll check out in a minute. There's not a whole lot on here. 6%, 55 IBUs, so it's not really over the top bitterness. It's kind of middle. I mean, 100 is basically, 0 is none, and 100 is about as much as your body, you can tell, the human can tell. So it's just slightly above middle. But again, without that sugary backbone that you get in an IPA, which sometimes, many times, those things are even hoppier and even more bitter. But with that sweetness, you get a nice counterbalance. Here you don't have that, so it feels more bitter. So I've actually had this before, but this is the first time rating it. I really like this beer. I gave it a 5 before, and I'm going to give it a 5 now. It's just a fantastic expression of these 4 different hops. I don't know if they make any with each hop individually. That would be a very interesting way to look at this. Maybe even a 6-pack where one had no hops, so that would be hard to keep preserved. And then one with the 4, and then one with them complete. So that way you get, that would be an interesting beer. Cascade works pretty well by itself. Centennial, okay. Chinook would be the problem because Chinook, I believe, is really just a bittering hop. I don't remember if I still have my hop application on here, and now it's not really a time to go looking for it. But sure, go ahead and no, I don't. But yeah, this is, I think, is a fantastic American Pale Ale. I like the expression of using these various hops. Like I said, I give it a 5. It's got, you know, a decent. Now, if you swirl it a little bit while you're drinking it, let it warm up, let it really open up. You can get more head on there. You got nice citrus and pine, grassy notes on the nose. They're there everywhere. It has a bit of a bitter finish. Now, some people may think it's a little too strong, but at 55 IBUs, that's not too bad. But again, no malt backbone, so that's why it's going to feel a little bit more bitter. But overall, very nice. A little bit cloudy, but it should be. Bottle condition. There's some yeast in the bottom. This is a fantastic beer. I mean, can I say it again? Brew Kettle. This is one of my favorites out there. I got to get some other stuff from them. We got to get more reviewed from the Brew Kettle, and we will coming up. So, have you had the 4 C's American Pale Ale? What do you think? Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for sharing all the videos. You can also start finding us on me on vid.me. I started to put some of my older reviews there. I'm just kind of trickling them out over the next few months, and they'll eventually all be over there as well, and also on Twitter. So find me as Brain Muffin on Twitter. Look me up on Facebook, and we will see you later. Bye. Brew Kettle. Is that slow enough? Kickboxing. I always say I'm going to try over there, and I never do. Let's try that next time. Yeah, I don't know. Are we recording? I forgot. Did I push the button? Yep. That's because I don't get the light this way. That's why.